Wonder why some people just seem to be born under a lucky star. Beauty, wealth, the works. While others, well, they face a much tougher road. Or maybe you've noticed someone absolutely stunning who just can't seem to catch a break.
Yeah, those contrasts are definitely noticeable.
Okay, let's really get into this because today we're plunging into a fascinating discussion that grapples with exactly these kinds of questions. Prepare for some, well, genuinely surprising insights into what might be behind these differences.
And what's really compelling here, I think, is that we're examining a discourse where Mallikādevī, who was a queen in her time, she directly posed these quite profound inquiries about beauty and wealth to the Buddha.
That's right, a queen seeking wisdom on why life unfolds so differently for people. Our source for this deep dive is this exact exchange.
Yeah, we've got excerpts from teachings attributed to the Buddha.
It's an English translation of Buddha's discourses.
Yeah, translated by Venerable Kirabeth Goda Nanananda Thero.
Picture this. It's Savatthi at the monastery in Anathapindika's Grove.
Right.
Queen Mallikādevī approaches the Buddha, with deep respect, pays homage, and then sits respectfully to one side, ready to explore these really fundamental questions.
And if you connect this to our own experiences, it just highlights this timeless human curiosity, doesn't it? Why do some people seem to have it all while others don't? Her questions are remarkably direct.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's precisely our aim for you in this deep dive. We're going to try and extract the core of what the Buddha taught from this conversation, giving you a clear, hopefully insightful understanding of the Buddha's perspective on the causes of beauty and wealth. We'll be focusing on the specific scenarios Mallikādevī presented and the Buddha's illuminating explanations.
Which prompts a crucial question, right? What were the specific scenarios that led to such a detailed and insightful response?
Excellent point, yeah. Mallikādevī outlined 4 very distinct situations. First, she asked about a woman who is unattractive, poor, and holds little influence. What could be the cause of that?
Okay.
Second, she inquired about a woman who, interestingly, is unattractive but does possess wealth and influence. What explains that particular combination?
Right, the opposite in some ways.
Exactly. Third, she presented the case of a woman who is beautiful, yet poor and lacking influence. What's the reasoning behind that? And finally, she asked about a woman who appears to have everything: beauty, wealth, and influence. What are the underlying causes for this seemingly perfect alignment?
It's a really comprehensive set of questions, covering such a wide spectrum of human experiences. It really speaks to our innate desire to understand the why behind what we observe.
Exactly. So let's begin with that first scenario. The woman who is unattractive, poor, and of little influence. What did the Buddha teach was the cause of this, well, rather unfortunate situation?
So the Buddha taught that this combination arises from a mind characterized by anger, irritability, resentment, displeasure, even in response to, minor things.
Okay, so a very negative inner state.
Yes, but it's not just about inner negativity. Crucially, this is coupled with a lack of generosity towards ascetics and Brahmins. Those were the religious practitioners and learned individuals of the time. This lack of generosity included not offering them necessities like food, drink, clothing, shoes, flowers, perfume, beds, dwellings, lamps, that sort of thing.
Wow, so it's like a 1-2 punch. Negative internal states combined with a lack of outward generosity.
Precisely, and there's actually another layer to it, the presence of jealousy. The Buddha pointed out that such a person harbors jealousy towards the gains, honor, respect, and offerings received by others.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. It's almost like a self-perpetuating cycle of negativity, isn't it?
It seems so.
So according to the Buddha, what's the likely outcome for someone with these traits if they were to be reborn?
Well, the Buddha explained that such a person, upon rebirth, would likely find themselves in very similar circumstances: unattractive, poor, and of little influence. It's presented as a direct consequence, really, of those past actions and ingrained mental habits.
Right. Okay. Now, let's consider the second scenario. The woman who is unattractive, but surprisingly wealthy and influential. How did the Buddha explain this seemingly contradictory picture?
What's really interesting here is the nuance. The Buddha taught that this combination also stems from a mind inclined towards anger, irritability, and displeasure, much like the first scenario.
Oh, okay.
So the unattractiveness has a similar root cause.
Okay, so the anger is still a key factor in the lack of beauty. But what then accounts for her wealth and influence? That seems different.
This is where the generosity aspect becomes really significant. Unlike the first woman, this woman did make offerings to ascetics and Brahmins. So while her internal state might have been marked by negativity, she also engaged in acts of giving. And furthermore, her mind was free from jealousy regarding the good fortune of others.
Ah, so it's a mixed bag then. A mix of inner disposition and outward actions leading to this mixed outcome. Anger leading to a lack of attractiveness, but generosity and a lack of jealousy leading to wealth and influence.
Exactly. The Buddha is illustrating how different actions and mental states can lead to distinct results, even within the same individual. It raises an interesting question for us today, doesn't it? How often do we perhaps see this play out in the world around us, people who might not be conventionally attractive, but have achieved significant material success?
Definitely something to think about, yeah. Now let's delve into the third case. The woman who is beautiful, but ends up poor and with little influence. What's the Buddhist perspective on this seemingly, well, unfair situation?
So the Buddha taught that the situation arises from a mind that is free from anger, not easily provoked, without resentment or displeasure, so that inner peace and lack of negativity that contributes to her beauty.
Right.
It's almost like the inner harmony radiates outwards, you could say.
That's a really compelling connection. Inner calm manifesting as outer beauty. But why the poverty and lack of influence then? What's missing?
Here's the crucial differentiating factor. This woman did not make offerings to ascetics and Brahmins. So, the absence of generosity plays a significant role in her material circumstances. Additionally, despite her lack of anger, she still harbored jealousy towards the success and good fortune of others.
So it appears that beauty, in this context, stems from an absence of negative emotions like anger, whereas wealth and influence are linked more to proactive generosity and, importantly, a lack of envious feelings.
Precisely. It's a very specific and interconnected understanding of cause and effect being laid out here. It highlights that even positive traits like not being angry don't necessarily guarantee overall well-being if other important qualities are lacking.
Right. Okay. And finally, let's tackle what seems like the ideal scenario, on the surface at least.
Yeah.
The woman who is beautiful, wealthy, and influential. What are the causes for this, according to the Buddha?
Well, perhaps unsurprisingly, this fortunate outcome arises from a mind that is free from anger, not easily provoked, without resentment or displeasure.
Okay, like the previous one regarding beauty.
Yes, this accounts for her beauty, echoing that previous point.
Okay, that makes sense. And what about the wealth and influence that completes this picture?
Furthermore, this woman did make offerings to ascetics and Brahmins, demonstrating her generosity.
Right.
And critically, her mind was also free from jealousy towards the good fortune of others. So it's the combination of these positive internal states and positive outward actions that leads to this seemingly blessed existence.
So if we really boil it down, it looks like there are two core principles at play here that the Buddha is highlighting across these four examples.
That's absolutely right. The Buddha's explanations point to two key interconnected factors. Firstly, our mental disposition, particularly the presence or absence of anger and resentment, significantly influences our physical appearance or attractiveness.
Okay, mind influencing body.
And secondly, our actions of generosity, or the lack thereof, play a crucial role in shaping our material circumstances, things like wealth and influence.
So it's not just random luck or chance. The Buddha is presenting a clear framework of cause and effect, rooted in our internal landscape and how we interact with the world around us.
Exactly. These are presented as the direct causes and conditions for these specific outcomes, according to what the Buddha taught in this particular discourse.
Now, it's incredibly interesting to see how Mallikādevī herself responded to these explanations. I mean, this wasn't just an abstract philosophical discussion for her, was it? It sounds like it really hit home.
Not at all, no. After hearing the Buddha's, profound explanations, Mallikādevī engaged in some deep self-reflection. She recognized that her own past tendencies toward anger and irritability likely explained why she wasn't considered, perhaps, conventionally attractive in her present life.
Wow. That's a powerful moment of self-awareness, isn't it?
Yeah.
To connect your present circumstances directly with your past actions and mental states like that.
It truly is. And she also acknowledged her past acts of generosity as the reason for her current wealth and abundance. Furthermore, she recognized that her past lack of jealousy contributed to her present influence, noting her significant position of authority even over other noble, Brahmin, and wealthy women within the royal household.
So she's drawing these direct parallels between the Buddha's teachings and her own lived experiences. That must have been a deeply impactful moment for her.
It clearly resonated profoundly. Following this realization, Mallikādevī made a really powerful vow for the future.
Oh, what was that?
She resolved to be free from anger, to remain unreactive to provocation, and to cultivate a mind without resentment or displeasure. She also vowed to be generous to ascetics and Brahmins, actively nurturing a mind free from jealousy.
That's a really significant commitment to personal growth and transformation, especially for someone in her position. It's quite inspiring, actually, to see her embrace these teachings so wholeheartedly.
Indeed. And the discourse concludes with Mallikādevī declaring herself a lay follower who had taken refuge in the triple gem that refers to the Buddha, his teachings, the Dharma, and the monastic community, the Sangha, from that day forward. It signifies a real turning point in her understanding and her path.
So there you have it. Through this deep dive into the discourse with Mallikādevī, you've gained, hopefully, a fascinating insight into the Buddhist perspective on the intricate interconnectedness between our inner states, like anger and jealousy, and our outer experiences of beauty and wealth, all viewed through the vital lens of generosity.
And what's particularly insightful here, perhaps, is how these ancient teachings might offer you a different lens, a different way to understand the disparities we witness in the world today, maybe moving beyond more superficial or sometimes judgmental explanations.
Absolutely. And that leads us to our final thought for you to consider. What small but meaningful shift could you consciously choose to make today? Perhaps in how you respond to frustration, or maybe in your willingness to extend generosity in some small form. Just think about how that single intentional change might, just might, ripple outwards in unexpected ways, influencing not just your own circumstances, but also the way you experience and interact with the world around you.